Welcome to this DLC heavy version of Critical News, where updates to Sins 2 and Stellaris take centre stage. We'll also take a look at what else is going on in strategy gaming. Stardock releases the Reinforcements DLC for Sins of the Solar Empire 2 on September the 25th, bringing command ships that fundamentally change late game fleet dynamics. These vessels bridge the gap between capital ships and titans, with each faction getting one unique design that matches their strategic identity. The TEC Enclave fields the Takadaran Command Fortress, a mobile shipyard capable of producing TEC cruisers directly in contested space. No more waiting for reinforcements from distant shipyards. TEC Primacy gets the Kvarkov modular battleship with customizable hardpoints for railguns, missiles or hangar bays depending on battlefield needs. The Vasari Alliance will be able to deploy the Solarcon Tyrant, a city ship fortress with integrated phase gate technology designed to lock down entire sectors and control movement. Their Exodus counterparts command the Anarchal Wanderer, transforming a colossal refugee carrier into a heavily defended warship bristling with strikecraft support. Advent faction split between the Wrath's Oblivia Dreadnought, heavily armoured for frontline combat with a devastating super heavy psychonetic lance, and the Reborn's Justicia Dreadnought. This vertical ship grows deadlier as allied units fall around it, building towards catastrophic retaliation strikes. This expansion introduces faction-specific victory conditions that go beyond traditional conquest. Vasari can construct massive arc ships and escape the sector through stellar manipulation. Advent deploys planetary conversion structures that transform entire star systems in sweeping waves of loyalty. The Trader Emergency Coalition builds an ultimate Novalift cannon capable of obliterating planets to force peace through firepower, or overwhelming destructive capability if you want to call it that. Executive producer Brian Clare emphasises these victories feel true to each Empire's lore rather than just generic win conditions. The $14.99 standalone DLC comes included with Premium Edition purchases and the Content Pass. Paradox launches Shadows of the Shroud on September 22nd, the most significant psionic expansion Stellaris has ever received. The headline feature brings psionic ascension to gestalt empires for the first time. Hive minds and machine intelligences can now pierce the veil alongside biological empires, fundamentally changing how collective consciousness interacts with otherworldly entities. 3 new origins reshape early game strategies. Endbringers start with access to the end of the cycle, but can bargain to delay the inevitable while acquiring additional benefits from this apocalyptic pact. Mind Wardens either begin as an established enclave sworn to combat psionic threats, or work to establish the first Mind Warden Order as a challenging origin. Shroud Forge sees machine drones cut off from central intelligence by otherworldly architects, making ever-increasing demands. 6 new civics include chosen variants for different government types, entropy drinkers that feed on decay, experimental sentencing for judicial research, secret societies operating in shadows, superstitious beliefs with fortune enterprise mechanics, and tank-bound corporate think tanks. Psionics has traditionally been the weakest ascension path, and Shadows of the Shroud completely overhauls this with new systems for exploring psychic space. Deeds, accords, callings and covenants create meaningful progression. Players can now influence relationships with entities beyond the veil through psionic auras and seals. New patrons join existing entities with expanded content for familiar faces. The End of the Cycle remains available for Utopia owners but receives exclusive new content that expands the apocalyptic scenario. Psionic portraits show physical transformation as species unlock their potential. 2 new ship sets, Mind Warden and Psionic, plus diplomatic rooms, city sets, advisor voices and music tracks complete the atmospheric package. Indie studio Software Verde have announced that their debut title, Mordfield Command, will launch on October the 23rd, combining 4x strategy with wave defense mechanics against Algorithm Alpha, an AI determined to eliminate humanity. The game forces constant adaptation through evolving terrain, where combat damage makes areas harder to traverse, demanding strategic flexibility throughout campaigns. The action point economy creates difficult decisions every turn. Players must balance space construction, satellite city expansion, resource management and defensive preparations while facing escalating mechanical threats. Optional time rounds add pressure, with 15 or 30-second turn limits transforming careful planning into rapid decision making under fire. Combat units gain experience through survival, creating elite fighters that can turn desperate battles. Procedurally generated maps ensure no 2 campaigns follow identical patterns. The technology tree unlocks powerful defences and devastating countermeasures, but scarce resources force choices that shape entire campaigns. The game includes a full campaign mode, a custom map editor for community creations, PvP multiplayer for tactical showdowns, and cooperative resistance against Algorithm Alpha. Players can target enemy outposts and command centres to disrupt reinforcements before overwhelming waves arrive. A free demo is available on Steam with a 75 round cap and restricted resources, giving players a taste of the survival-driven mechanics. Campaign mode, operations and full technology options arrive with the October launch. The demo provides enough content to understand whether the high-pressure mechanics appeal to individual players. Software Verdict positions this as humanity's last stand requiring cunning and resolve against systemic annihilation. The fusion of traditional 4X expansion with defensive urgency creates tension between long-term planning and immediate survival needs. Each procedurally generated battlefield responds to combat dynamically, forcing constant tactical adaptation. The October 23rd PC launch targets players seeking strategy games with genuine consequences for every decision, where hesitation proves fatal and only adaptive thinking ensures survival against relentless mechanical opposition. 2K cuts dozens more developers at Firaxis Games, the studio behind Civilization, XCOM and Marvel Midnight Suns. The corporate announcement calls it restructuring for adaptability, collaboration and creativity, which ranks amongst the coldest layoff statements this year. This follows 80 job losses at Bioshock developer Cloud Chamber weeks earlier. Civilization 7 launched in February to mixed Steam reviews and what Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick calls a slow start. The strategy gaming consolidation continues as major publishers cut costs while maintaining revenue expectations. Steamvale Games announces Drill Rift, a turn-based dwarven mining colony sim launching in Q4 of 2025. The game fuses strategic base building with Dungeons & Dragons style dice roll mechanics for events. Players manage a remote drill outpost, upgrading machinery and leveling dwarves whilst balancing resource management and rising madness. Drilling too deep awakens creatures that use your madness levels to locate your outpost. A demo launches on September the 20th ahead of participation in Steam Next Fest. A combination of colony management with D&D event resolution creates tension between expansion ambitions and supernatural consequences lurking beneath the mountain. Tempest Rising gets its most requested feature on September 9th with 3v3 matches supporting 6 players for larger scale battles. Single player modes receive active pause and game speed adjustment tools for customised pacing. Skirmish mode adds no bot sandbox functionality, letting players experiment with units, buildings and factions without opposition. Full spectator mode launches with player stat viewing, spectator chat, camera following and fog of war toggles. The update responds directly to community feedback about match scale and accessibility options since the game's launch earlier this year. That wraps up this DLC focused edition of Critical News. Industry layoffs continue while indie developers push creative boundaries in established genres. Friday's podcast goes beyond all reason, with an interview covering a popular RTS game that's captured significant community attention. Until next time, keep your strategies sharp and your expansions funded. Thanks very much. Take it easy. Goodbye.